Gary Johnson here from CouchFighter.co. We're top UFC welterweight Johny Hendricks. Johnny, after coming off a big win against Jon Fitch in your last match, you're jumping in the octagon pretty soon, a few months afterwards, on UFC on Fox 3. How does it feel?
It feels great, to be on a card where baseball, football, hockey, NASCAR, these guys, this is a prime real estate for any athletes. Basketball, everything's on Fox, and to be able to fight on that is, sort of like surreal. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen, but it is, and that's sweet. I don't really know how to explain it, except for I'm super excited.
And then looking in the past, maybe the first or second Fox card, all the other fighters have talked about the pride and getting to be on the Fox card, and it just shows you the faith that the organisation has possibly shown in you now. Yeah,
and that's something that's always nice to have a little bit of you believe what you can do, but also have other people in the organization believe what you can do.
When your player shows something back
yes,
to you.
Yes, and that's something that's always nice to have when you're training. You get tired. Well, guess what? I'm not going to lose because of my fans. I'm going to train a little bit harder because of my fans, because of UFC believes in me. And there's a lot of things that you can use to motivate yourself.
Obviously, the last fight, massive win for yourself, but do you think that the whole Jon Fitch fight is still sort of hanging over this fight coming in? A lot of people are putting similarities between him and Koscheck just because they were training partners.
Yeah, I forgot about that fight. It's over. After that week off, it's done. Everybody still brings it up because, that's the last fight. You're only as good as your last fight. Yeah. And I get that, but it's in the past. It doesn't matter, because if I go out there and lose to Josh, yeah, they're going to be like, oh, he knocked out him, but can't beat him. You see what I'm saying? So none of that matters.
It's obviously one for sort of the media and the fans to build up as a bit of tension between them. But for both fighters today, you can see they're not thinking about Jon Fitch at all. You're just thinking about each other.
Yes, thinking about it. Because if you think about the past, you're not going to be prepared for the future. You see what I'm saying? And so whenever I see him, I don't care about anybody else. I don't care about my training partners. I don't care about nothing except for training as hard as I can to prepare myself for that fight. That's all that matters, is going in there and doing whatever you can to get your hand raised.
It's sort of a different situation than, some fighters look ahead, whereas this one, it seems a lot of you want to use the look back, so it's sort of coming around in that full circle.
Yes, I don't overlook nobody. I don't look back on anybody. The thing I will do is I'll dissect my own performances. I'll be like, okay, that wasn't that good. I need to do this, this, and this better. And that's all that matters to me. Nothing else matters except for Josh. That's it. Nothing, nobody. And, I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm so excited. I thought I was excited for the Jon Fitch fight, but that doesn't compare to this one.
And then when you look at the welterweight division, I was going to ask you for your thoughts on that as well. It seems everything's sort of put on hold as regards going into title contention. Dana said today that Carlos is going to wait for George. So what way do you see things panning out? Obviously you don't want to look ahead, but your just thoughts initially in the whole...
If I win this fight and I do what I think I can do, it's going to open it. It's going to prove...
campaign mode.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to prove where I should be. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm not in here to be number second. I'm not here to be the third ranked guy. I'm not here to be the fourth. I'm not here to be anything except for to try to get that belt, and nothing else matters in this sport besides getting the belt. Because, perfect example, who was the champ at 2005 at 185?
Yeah.
The champ. You know what I mean? And that's people will remember that. But you say who did he beat to be the champ? They're going to be like, who did he beat? And they're going to look on their phone. Oh yeah, that's right.
Such and such.
Yeah. But they're not going to be over just constantly every name. Randy, Chuck Liddell. They're not going to be those guys. Yeah. Anderson Silva. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why getting that belt around your waist is the most important thing.
And then obviously for yourself, welterweight division, looking the last few years, George obviously being the top of that for so long.
Yes.
Everybody, I suppose, at 170 pounds wants to have a crack at him, but now Carlos is there as well. So would it matter?
No.
Once the belt is on the line, I suppose.
Hey, it doesn't matter who has the belt. Of course I'd like a crack at GSP, but I feel like I got what it takes to beat him. But like I said, nothing. It doesn't matter who has the belt. I just want it, you know. That's my whole thought process these days. It's been that way for a year now, is I don't care about anything but getting that big hunk of metal right here, you know, and taking it home. That's what drives me. That's what wakes me up every morning, and that's all I really care about.
The fact that the word Fox is associated with this card, obviously millions of homes across America and the world.
Yes.
How does that help drive you on and train? That little bit extra you need to
help? Yeah, because if me and Josh can go out there and put on a great performance, and that's doing MMA. In my opinion, that's doing MMA justice. You know what I mean? Letting Fox see who we are, letting Fox see that we're just not everyday gladiators. We're down to earth people, and you know, we just like to wake up and do something a little bit different. You know, you wake up and hold a mic. I wake up and I use these to hurt people. You know, but I'm still, you know, just a regular guy. You know, if you see me on the streets, I'm not gonna. You know, I'll be nicer than probably somebody that, you know what I mean, than an average human would be.
Yeah. And just lastly, you talked about football, you talked about hockey, baseball, NASCAR, all of them being in New York City. You're here in New York City today. What's your thoughts on the whole situation?
See, legalize it in New York. Legalize it in New York City.
Are you surprised that it's
well,
still at this stage?
I don't know. You know, I don't know all the details and the backgrounds and stuff. I just know that I've watched boxers fight in Madison Square Garden. You know, my last fight was in MGM Grand. That's where I've seen Tyson, Holyfield. You know, all these guys fight. Yeah. And so for whenever I walked in there the first day, you know, they were showing us around. When we got there, I was like, dude, this is awesome. You know, I've seen people fighting here. I've seen it on pay-per-views and years of that. And now I'm finally here. You know, it couldn't get any greater than that. And I pray that, you know, one day I'll be able to fight in Madison Square Garden.
I judge from your voice that you'd be one of the 100th campaigning for it to be on the first card.
Oh yeah. Because, like I said, it's got that historical preference of a fight. That's where the biggest name fighters.
Fight night, you think of MGM or Madison Square
Yes,
Garden.
you think of a fight. You think of those two names, and that's be amazing to fight there.
Thanks very much.
Hey, thank you.
Much appreciated. Thanks.
No worries.